Hi everyone, welcome to RPA Explorers
I
channel.
hope everyone are doing good. So in the past two videos we are seeing about error handling or exception handling in RPA. In today's video we are going to continue with that, which is a part 3. So in the previous two videos I have shown about try catch and this terminate method. First let's start with a new component, which is throw. So you have this throw error which is under general. So let's drag and drop this, and it has two parameters, exception type and message. So if you have already worked on queue, like in queue you have this parameter which is called exception type, and in general in any process, in any kind of automation you have two kinds of exceptions, like your application and business exception. So if you are really working on queue, this property is more helpful to mark your exception type. If not, you could mark your exception type as whatever you want to define, but in general it could be either your application, which is AE, or your BE, business exception. And this message is something which you which you can customize to the bot when you are throwing your exception. So this is about these two property. Let's understand what's the difference between this terminate and throw error component. And this terminate is something which just stop the complete process, whereas throw will be throwing an exception which can be handled in the try catch block. It doesn't stop your complete automation. So this is the main difference between them, and now let's start configuring it. So I'm just going to give my exception type as AE or application exception of type string. So you have to provide your value in the static. You could also store your value from your variable or from your previously executed connection. And then your message, so I'm just going to copy the same message, and here with the previously executed scenario I'm going to use the same by throwing it, not terminating it. So now I'm going to disconnect the on error part. Let's just throw it and let's see what's happening actually. I'm going to run this now. So there is an error. If you click on that, you will be able to see that this component throw error failed to execute whatever the activity is. So here it's error handling. So it says it is an application exception. The exception is this. And this is basically a template. So it just replaces your activity name, custom error message, and your exception type, whatever you give. Okay. And now let's do the same by connecting the on error part. And this time also we have an error. Whenever there is an error, not just by throwing it, even we have other error, without having this throw error, it will automatically come into this on error block, right? But if you want to intentionally throw an error, for example you have some business exception that the phone number should be of 10 digits, but the input you get is just 9 digit or less than 10. So in those scenarios you could validate your phone number, and based on your validation you can add a decision and then throwing that error. Okay, and now we have an error, it come over here. So here you will be able to see the exact error message which we have on throw error. So it says the same. Let's look at the execution log now. So this is now. So this is a very simple example to show how this throw error work. In order to understand this better, I am going to do certain things on my try catch. So it's basically whenever there is an error, I want to do certain action. So here instead of doing an action, I want to, just to simplify it, I want to click 12 on my calculator. So I'm going to connect this. So after clicking on 12, I want to just display my error message. Open my calculator and just make it 12. Okay. And also I'm just going to have some delay. So I have delay before execution is 3 seconds, so that when the bot runs I could quickly open the calculator. Okay. Let's run it now. Okay. If you see, the bot is trying to click on this 12. Whenever there is an error, I'm clicking on 12, which it does now, and then it's supposed to log the actual error message. So, and it is also logging the correct exceptions, right? So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make this number as something like 1 or 2 something, and now we'll run the process. Okay, I'll open the calculator. So it is just waiting for the image 12 on the calculator. Okay, so there is an error which is from throw error, and whenever there is an error, my intention is to handle it in the try catch. But even in the try catch, I have an additional exception. So if you see here that I have some exception, and as we are just mapping this particular error message, we still have the same execution log. Okay. So here comes the advanced scenario. So what if you're trying to do something in the try catch block, but the try catch itself is the catch block itself is throwing you an exception. So you can handle this in two different ways, either by having additional try catch. So let's have one more try catch over here. So firstly, I wanted to have my error message for the actual error, and then in case I have any additional error, I do want to log those exception. Firstly, I want to drag it. Okay, so now I have this console log, and then after I'm logging it, I want to connect my try catch. So after connecting it, I want to connect to the happy path, which is the actual port. This should be, in case there is an error over here, I want to do a connection. Okay, now let's run and see it. Okay, this is completed. So this is the first error which come over here, and in the second try catch we have error. So basically we should have two execution logs. So the first is for the throw, and second is for the click fail to activity, and that the image could not be found, which is expected. So you might have a question that what if the particular component which we have before your try catch itself is failed. So in this example, I have a simple component which is console log, which is not going to fail most of the times, right? Here when you right click on this, you have this option error handler. By default it is in hurried, so just make it to continue, and I have set the value to be continue. Okay, so let's add this click over here, and I want to continue in case I did not get anything. And now let's run it again. Okay, so the first image is failed. It shouldn't continue it whenever we have an error. As we have this error handler as continue, you continue to the rest of the part. So always make sure that you have some logic which doesn't matter even if the particular component or your activity fails. Assume that in real time I'm going to update my work item. So let's go to the queue and let's pick this one which is called update work item. Okay, so right now it is pending. When I use this pick work item, it will be in progress. It means that the bot picked up that. So whenever there is an exception, I want to update my work item, and there is a due to some application issue, it is not able to update the status, and now the status will still remain in progress, correct, right? And in this scenarios, what you can do is you can just make this particular error handler as continue, and then it just do rest of the action in case you have any. So in this scenario, the bot does what it has to do, it throws an exception, but the error happens in the place which doesn't actually affect the bot, as it is just updating the status. In case you still see some items in progress, you can go deeper into the logs and you could check your other files, whatever you want to track it, and you could track it, right? So make sure that you have some component or activity which really affect it even when you are just continuing the error handler part. So basically we have seen three different components: try catch with advanced, throw error, and then terminate. Let's also have a look at the other method which is not exactly a component to handle your error, but it comes under those stuffs. Like, let me take this component called Graceful Stop. As the name suggests, it just gracefully stop the process, and it doesn't have any input parameter. And this is also useful only when your process is running from an unattended automation. The process, when you are running your process here, along with these two options, you also have Graceful Stop. like there is some option to gracefully stop your process. Enabling this graceful stop when the process is running will return true value to this component. So based on this, you could add your decision and then you can gracefully stop your process. Like if I just simply run this, the value by default value is false. I'll run this, so it will be giving you the value false. So what you can do is you could have this graceful stop before you pick your item. Basically this pick work item. So before I'm picking, what I can do is I could have this decision block to make a decision whether I'm getting a graceful stop signal from my RPA board or not. If so, I don't want to pick an item, I just want to stop it before picking the next item. So this is another way of handling an Excel. Guys want me to create a detailed video on this graceful stop, do let me know in the comments. For sure I'll be creating that as well. But this is how the overview of graceful stop works. I hope all the 3 videos would be helpful for you guys, and in case, make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot for watching this video till the